Let's move on to Arabian Nights Volume 2. Last week we mentioned Arabian Nights Volume 1. That was the start of a trilogy of films by Miguel Gomes, all linked in some way by the decline of Portugal, I suppose. So this is part 2.
Yeah, so part 2, again, directed by Miguel Gomes because it's his trilogy.
Yep.
And volume 2 is the Desolate one. So
What was last week's?
The Restless one.
Yes.
And next week is the Enchanted one.
Yeah.
So I guess, as it goes with any trilogy, this is the darker sequel, I guess, or the darker middle part, because it's less light-hearted than the first part was.
Yes.
Again, there's 3 main stories, and the one that dominates the story is a set piece set in sort of a fictional court, where basically one woman presides over a court, and it's basically all of these different people saying how they've been affected by other people in Portugal's sort of greed and their sort of self-respect within that, and that goes on for quite a while. And it starts off quite serious and it ends quite serious, but in the middle there's quite a lot of jovial parts in there, like when a group of people in masks with really high-pitched voices come in, and this sort of like, but I mean, as ever, as with part 1, it's incredibly surreal. There's no parts with the director this time. There's no documentary parts as with the first one. It's all the fictional parts this time.
I think we'll get that at the end of the next one.
Yeah, probably will, to sort of tie everything off.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's meant to be seen together. So, but yeah, in part 2, it's all fictional parts, and that dominates the opening parts. The entire sort of first part but the entire middle part of the story, like a 40-minute stretch at least, is that court scene, and it's very surreal, but it's also very like profound and deep, and it is a lot less laughable. There's
still laughs there,
but
it's just that. In the first part, I had the whole thing about the swim thing, the running.
Yeah, the
water.
Swim of the Magnificence,
and that was quite grounded and quite deep, wasn't it? Because obviously it was these real people, as if it was a documentary talking about their problems. In this, you've I don't know, it's an interesting one because you can tell it's part of the same, universe, if you like. The final part of this film has the thing with the dog, doesn't it? So it starts with the dog.
Well, it starts with the runaway murderer.
Yes,
like it's a man who's been on the run for 40 days. Well, it's said that he will run over land for 40 days, and basically he's been hunted by many people. And I
found that to be the least interesting part of the series so far.
That was quite boring.
I dozed off.
I did not think that was very good at all. But
it's not that it wasn't good. It's just it wasn't as interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, like being a weak part in a great series like this is still
it's always bound to happen.
Still a good thing. But I think that entire core, you can't even call it like set piece. Essentially, that 40-minute section is really well done. It's surreal. It manages to be profound and still sad and still have a point and still be so stupid and pointless. It's brilliantly done.
It's got a brilliant opening to it as well, where the daughter finds a mate and is like, "Oh, mother, you're such a good judge of character," and she's a judge. Say, "Oh."
Yeah, and then the final fictional story involves basically the lost pets, I suppose that's the way to put it, like the ones left behind in Portugal's financial crisis, and that ends very, very profoundly, and it's rather sad. But I guess
I like that it explores. There's a short part of that section where it kind of goes through all the different problems that are in that flat, very quickly.
Yeah.
And it kind of covers all the bases, which I think it's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, Gomez did say at the start that the Arabian Nights saga for him was a struggle between. Well, I mean, he wanted to create a film that was at the same time an extreme, surreal, ethereal experience, but also make a film that is telling about Portugal's troubles and their financial woes in this time period. And the first one was, of course, very surreal. I mean, basically men with,
problems downstairs
and various other sort of things that are going on, and all very surreal content. And in this one it is a lot more closer to home while still having that surreal edge to it, which makes it a lot more closer to home, I guess. And that part with the pets near the end, that was the third story, is very real, and it really does hit home that there are other people that are suffering from this other than humans in this crisis, and
in terms
a lot of victims with it.
The audience of the film, the first one we were at, obviously, because we've seen them all at the same time so far. Now, but obviously this week we'll have to decide when we're going to see it. But but with it being a Saturday night, you expect it to be fairly busy. Saturday night in the gallery, it is normally quite busy at the Townside. The first one was kind of not particularly well attended. This one was even less so. Do you think some people sort of gave up after the first one? There was somebody actually walked out during this one, didn't
it? Just sort of correlate with the box office figures, doesn't it? That we talked about last week.
I just think that obviously there's some people who won't have enjoyed it and they've kind of given up. But it's testament to us that we have stuck with it. I think it's an interesting series. I'm really impressed by it.
Yeah, I love the last part. You really do feel that desolation. Obviously, the desolate one.
But I just love how like enchantingly wibbly pointless it is. Like it's
wibbly pointless.
Wibbly pointless.
There's your poster quote right there.
Wibbly wobbly pointless
like
stuff.
like wibbly surreal, or like it's so
sticking with the wibbly.
odd.
Wibbly.
It's just the fact that
It's really wibbly in it.
The fact that it manages to
be so wibbly,
to combine that experience
of
of talking about a very serious topic and a very serious period in Portugal's history, recent history, and have such a magical, ethereal air about it with these surreal stories tying it in with the Arabian Nights structure is just incredible to watch, and I just cannot wait for part 3. It's been a wonderful 2-part series so far. I cannot wait for the third.
Cannot wait for Wibbly Nights Part 3.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, I imagine that as we kind of get into the third part, it won't be quite as wibbly as the.
No, it won't be as wibbly. No.
There's got to be something.
It's the enchanted
kind of nail it home.
Yeah.
The wibbly.
But it's already been enchanting for the past 2 parts.
Let's hope it stays wibbly.
Let's hope so.
And wobbly.
As with last week, we can't say we recommend this film. Obviously, we can, but we can't say go see it because it's now finished.
It's part 2.
It's finished.
Part 3 is that next. It's kind of also we can't really say you should go see this one because you kind of need to have seen the first 2 ish. I mean, they do stand alone, but to get a real sense of the film, it's probably I'd advise that you see the whole trilogy. I'd feel a bit left out.
Maybe your local cinema will put them on back to back. If not, I would recommend waiting until home release and then watching them on a big screen at home or your biggest setup.
That's Arabian Nights Volume 2, The Desolate One. Volume 3 is in cinemas from tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. That's when the first one is. And if you've been watching it, get in touch with us in the next week and tell us what you thought of the whole series. And next week we'll kind of do a full review of what we think of the entire
and your favourite
trilogy.
part, maybe.
Yes.
Your favourite story, tale.
Joe, is this where we...